Hey guys, welcome to Self-Helpless. This is Taylor Tomlinson.
I'm Kelsey Cook.
I'm Delaney Fisher.
Like how I said, this is Taylor Tomlinson. Like I was leaving a voicemail.
Yeah.
Oh,
that
man.
was new.
That was new.
I like it.
That was a new one.
Nice.
You guys, we had a scheduling conflict that came up with our guests. So now we're improvising and we are going to do what I am fearfully convinced.
Anxious already.
I am anxious.
Jump and the net will appear.
Jump in and that will
Leap and the net will appear.
Oh, leap. I like
right.
to jump.
Come on.
I'm not a leaper.
Not as graceful. We realized that we hadn't done a breakups episode yet, and we were like, oh my gosh, we should absolutely do a whole episode about that. And this is probably going to be an honest one, everybody.
So
I know.
honest.
I know we're honest on all of them, but
Hope our exes don't listen.
I hope
Oh
they
my
do,
gosh,
so they
I
can learn
know.
some shit.
Oh my God, Beyonce over here.
that's so funny.
Well, here's the thing: we get so many advice email questions, and the majority of them are about relationships, breakups, divorce, how to break up, should I break up, all these things. How do I heal myself after a breakup? So naturally, it just makes sense to kind of talk about what has helped us, what didn't help us, what we wish we had done differently, or all of that. And I think it's helpful for anybody who's going through it, because there is no greater pain than going through a breakup of somebody that you're in love with.
Totally.
I
sourced.
mean,
yeah.
I just don't. Somebody has a really brilliant joke. I can't. I'm gonna butcher it, but I'll have to look it up and use it again. But it's something about like, and this is bad and really dark. But even like when you're like, even when somebody's like family member passes away, at least you know they're not like going around being an aunt to everybody else.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Oh my
Like,
God. Oh, I've
like,
heard that. Whose joke is that?
I
That's
don't
so
know, but
funny.
I need to look it up and give them credit. It's not my joke. I'll put it out there. But I just think it's so funny. Like you break up with somebody and then they're doing it with everybody else and not you. But
Oh
like,
my God.
Whose joke
in
is
that
that?
pain.
I've never heard it before.
You've never heard it
I
before?
think it's so
Might be a
funny.
big one.
But yeah, just like I said, like that, there's something to be said about like that initial, like that separation, and that person is still off doing their thing,
Right.
And you're kind of wondering about them, like what
Right.
they're up to.
By the way, I just realized I have a bag of almonds on this chair, like that they are our guests.
We're making do. We're making
so
do.
unprofessional. I'm sorry about that. Sorry, guys. I'm really taking this beautiful studio down a couple notches. My trashiness. Bring my almonds everywhere like a soccer mom. Yeah. The bangs are infecting me.
The bangs look good, but the bangs make you look younger.
Thank you.
They're cute.
I've heard both. I've heard older and younger.
You look a little election-y, which I don't even think she has bangs in that.
Is
Reese
that
Witherspoon?
You look like
good old
you're.
Reese?
Whenever I see you, I'm like, I feel like you're on the cheer team. I feel like they make you look younger, if anything.
Well, awesome. Again, 30's around the corner, so
like it.
fucking I'll
I
put
like
bangs. And bangs are like the cheaper Botox because they cover your wrinkles on your forehead.
Oh hell yeah!
Oh,
That's
look
a
at
good
that.
life hack.
Yep, there we go.
I like it.
Yes.
I realized we should have looked up breakup quotables,
Oh.
and I just did, and there's so many.
I'm sure
Jump
there's
and
one
the net will appear. Oh my
God.
I don't know.
Well, do you remember that you
Seriously.
talked about that
Or jump and the dick will
Greg
appear.
Barron's book? It's called A Breakup Because It's Broken.
Yeah.
And I
Yes.
wonder if there's a quote from there.
Oh, so many. Let's just, if I Google breakup quote, what is the very first
Oh,
one that pops up?
there's
I'm
so
sure there'll
many.
be millions.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like this one. This one says, sometimes you just have to accept that some people can only be in your heart, but not in your life.
Oh.
That's pretty good. You don't like that one?
No, it just hits hard.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
just talking about this with Kane, where I have a really hard time, like not having exes in my life. Like if
Me
I
too.
love somebody to the point where I have a relationship with them and we go through a breakup, I still want to like know about them
Really?
Yeah, I want to make
Yeah.
sure they're doing okay.
because otherwise it feels like they died.
Interesting.
It feels
Yeah.
like really old school when there wasn't Facebook and
Sure.
you couldn't see what people were doing. It's like you would only see them if you ran into them.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think for me, it depends on how it ended.
Yeah.
Like some people I have no desire to like ever see again, and not because I'm angry, just because like I just don't care.
Yeah.
And some it's like, oh, I really wish them well and I hope they're okay and hope they're, they find somebody nice just because it ended, amicably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, Oh, I
Can
like this one. There really are a lot of fucking fish in the sea. Cheer up, everyone can be replaced.
That's
Laws
so
of
funny.
modern man. That's where that quote came
Wow.
from.
Wow.
Oh man.
That's so funny.
Hey.
I love those ones where you can tell it's fresh.
Oh,
Like you can tell they
Yeah.
are going through it.
It's so funny because this is one about being replaced. It's sad how people claim to love and care about you and yet they replace you so quickly. The love bits, like very different
Oh
quotes
my
about
God.
this.
Same
Both
coin.
sayings of this. Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, and some of these are pretty terrible too. When you just have to know going into this Pinterest search.
Yeah,
that
it's
you're
a
gonna
bit of a
get
gamble.
some- yeah. The hardest part about walking away from you is knowing that you won't run after me. Yeah, why would they run? You're walking.
Oh man.
Oh my God.
But also just like, yeah, fuck that person. They're not gonna run after you, then screw them.
Yeah, you want to do
You're
a
so tough, Delaney. Look at you in your
I
jean
know.
jacket. You're like, I'll fucking kick
up?
somebody's
There
ass.
is something to be said for like
Yeah, I
if
don't
you're
know.
pushing someone away and they're just like, all right, that's probably on you though.
Right,
Too.
right.
I've been learning a lot about myself. Classic. We've all heard this one. 'Tis better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all.
I agree.
I think
Sure.
so too.
I absolutely
Once you
agree.
get past the anger.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
But it's like when you think about it, it's like, yeah, that as much pain as it brings you, there's a lot of joy. And there's just a whole other experience that you
Yeah, you're alive.
don't
Yeah.
even realize that you can have until you have it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Can I cop to something?
Oh,
Real quick. It's
yeah.
weird that we're doing.
Is this a secret?
I emailed my ex today. Like very short, very brief. But I felt okay.
I am going
Taylor.
to
I know.
leave the
I know.
studio.
I know. But here's the thing. I felt like what you're saying is how I am too. I want to know that like my exes are okay and
Sure,
stuff.
sure.
Like and there are some exes that I could just call and be like, "How's it going? Like, are you cool?"
What kind of an email was this?
It was a very short email, and it was from a genuine place of just like I was like, "Hey, you can ignore this. It's totally fine." I was like, "I just want to make sure you were okay." And I hope things are going well. Like that was literally it. It's 2 sentences.
And that was the
it.
incentive to email.
That was the incentive. There's
Okay.
no. That's the other thing.
There's no ulterior motive
There's
with the
no
response?
ulterior motive.
Okay.
For
Really?
response. There really isn't. I swear to you, there really isn't.
Okay.
And
Suspicious.
there were times in the last couple months where there would have been.
Okay.
Because you heard from me on those days.
Right.
It's just so fresh. How could you not feel
Yeah,
it's fresh.
It's fresh.
like you're
It's
kind
like-
of hopeful that something would happen?
Because-
I would be hopeful.
Because we have tried so many times. So I feel
But
like
also, how much has changed in the last few months?
nothing. That's what I'm saying. We've tried so many times. and
No,
nothing's
but I'm
changed.
saying for him, if
Oh.
hey, how are you? Hope you're well.
I don't.
You know, maybe try in 3 years. Hope your life is great. You know, because
know.
it's like, hey, there's probably a
It's
lot. that
really
has happened.
hard. It's really hard for
It's
me.
so hard.
To like the person I dated before him. I dated probably for like the long, like a year and a half, and we were like we were proper friends for
Yeah.
like a year after we broke up, and then things just kind of like fell by the wayside, and people come in and out of your life, and he was dating somebody else, and I'm sure that was part of it, and I'm like, I totally get it. It's not a big deal.
Right.
But there was like that like ended well, and we were fine and like friends and like talking about the new people we were dating, and I really liked that. Like that was really cool. And this is a different situation, so I don't know that it'll go like that. But at least today, that's how I felt. I felt like, just not really mad anymore, just kind of like
Yeah.
accepting of the situation.
Okay.
And I was, there were times where I wasn't mad. There were times I was mad about specific things, and there's, whatever.
Right.
And like mad in a general sense of like
Mm-hmm.
mad that it didn't work, because there are a lot of things that are situational.
I
You know
just
what
feel like Delaney and I are like,
Yeah, I know.
Well, here's what I have to ask you.
Okay.
Now,
Oh, this is so.
if
awful.
you, how will you feel if you don't get a response?
I'll feel fine. I think that's
Okay.
probably what will happen.
And how will you feel if you do get a response?
Better, depending on what it says. I don't know what it'll say.
And
I
what
think
if
it'll
there were-
probably just say like, "Yeah, doing well. Hope you're doing well. Take care."
And if there's
I
like
just-
a question with the response,
I
will
don't
you
think
keep,
there will
keep
be.
continuing.
No, here's
Yeah,
what
okay.
here's my feeling about it. I feel like here's another reason. I've been why part of it I think it was this week. I'm in town this week, and I'm doing shows in LA. And so when I'm on the road, I'm not worried about running into him. And I am worried about running into him when I'm in town. And I just don't want it to be weird.
yeah.
Like I don't want to have that be another thing I'm anxious about.
Sure.
And it just ended weird, and it always does, and it was sort of amicable but kind of not, and like I just wanted to feel like everything was fine.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And if he doesn't respond, that's fine, and that's almost like then at least I don't have to wonder. Then I can be like, oh, okay, you just don't, whatever. It's fine. Or maybe you don't want to, that's just how it needs to be going forward.
Right.
But right now I don't know what to expect. Like, I don't know what it would be like if I ran into him. And I know I will eventually at some point.
So you're clearing the air a little bit.
I'll
allow it.
But I didn't run it past anybody. And usually there have been times where I texted you and I was like, please tell me not to do this.
Because, well, if you said you were going to, we would probably like go to wherever you are and grab your phone.
I know, exactly. Right. Exactly.
But it's like, you know, it stops here, and it ended with you saying something nice and positive.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Hopefully.
As long as it doesn't continue that pattern and down that deep rabbit hole.
Well, the other thing is I'm dating somebody else and have been for like a couple months. So it's like,
which is great.
You know, I wouldn't have done it if I wasn't dating anybody. Okay. And it's been long enough where I'm sure he probably is too. So I felt like if one or both of us was single, it might be like weird or confusing or not as, you know, clear. But I feel like in this situation, it's
okay.
I don't know. Why do you? Nobody believes me. Nobody.
I have done the exact same
over
thing.
Here.
I know.
So here's the thing.
All right. Well, good for you.
I'm not speaking. I'm not like. I'm not trying to be judgmental.
Oh, exactly.
I've done that shit.
we have both said to you and on air that we've like gone back to exes. And like,
I'm not going back.
I know.
Okay.
But I'm just saying, like, we'll never judge you, even though I felt like we were probably being judgy. We just want like the best for you.
Yeah.
Right.
But we completely get it. I mean, like, I've had my friends be doing that to me, and I've been doing way like deeper things where it's like, you know, I'm getting a text from the person to get back together to go do something, and I'm like, my friend's like, "Don't you do it?" And I'm like, I'm gonna do it. She's like, God damn it!
That's
like,
my favorite when you do it. I'm gonna do it though.
I already know.
I think I've done that enough with this person.
I
think that's what I thought, but
I don't know.
I had to be pried away from that person basically by a new relationship.
For me, like what you just did used to start shit up again.
Oh yeah, same for sure.
But not saying that it would for you, but that was probably my own reaction. Like, shit, I had done that, and then there was a response, and then there was another response, and then 2 months later we were back together.
See, we've done this in the past though, where we've checked in because it's been like 4 years of this shit.
Right.
But there have been times where we've checked in and one or both of us was seeing other people, and nothing happened, and nothing went anywhere. So that's why I feel comfortable doing it. It's not like every time, you know, like we've gotten back together when we're like both single. Right. And I don't think that's the case right now. It's not for me right now, really. Yeah. So I felt like, okay, it's fine. And it always felt genuine, like whenever he would reach out. Like when I was on like Last Comic Standing, we'd been broken up for a few months. And he reached out and like, I think called me and like let me know how he was doing. And was also like really proud of you and all that stuff. And that was like nice. But we weren't even like really friends after that. Like we would like check in occasionally and like run into each other places, but it didn't become this thing of like, okay, we're gonna talk all the time now, you're in my life. But I do have that desire that you're talking about with my exes, where I just want to like make sure they're fine. And the only one I don't really know about is my college boyfriend, and he checks in every like year and a half to just be like, it's so cool what's happening for you. And I'm like, that's great. I think you dumped me on a driveway, you know, like that kind of thing. There's that kind of thing. But you're a robot. Yeah. So when his mom checks in, I'm like, thank you so much, I love you. But
we should make sure that says you dumped me in a driveway.
Oh, that is so funny.
But no, I think usually I'm like, well, yeah, let's catch up, and he's like, sure, and then we never do. Like that's kind of that kind of situation.
Okay. Yeah, oh man,
So I check in with exes, I think, and everyone's fine.
There's only one ex that I like have said that I really like. I sincerely wish him well, and that he was just like the greatest guy ever. And I had just started getting into stand up, and I was so focused on that I didn't really care about a relationship, and I just like didn't feel that thing enough to like continue seeing him, I guess.
Yeah.
But he was just like such a great guy.
What was the thing you didn't feel?
Like just like the I guess I know as cheesy and lame as it is to say, like the chemistry, I guess. Like
It's not cheesy or lame.
I
It's
guess
a real
like
thing.
yeah, like he checked off all the boxes I was looking for. Attractive, good person, could cook, like employed, smart, like comes from a
Where
nice family.
is he?
Yeah, I think he's actually engaged. Like, and look, we're still Facebook friends. Curtis, if you're listening, shout out to Curtis. Like, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
And we only dated for a few months when I was in college, but like out of all my people that I've called boyfriend at some point, he is the only one where I like reached out to him years after we had been together, just to basically say like, I have dated so many douchebags in Los Angeles, and it makes me like appreciate how good of a guy you are.
Oh, if someone sent me that shit, I would be like, oh, she wants it.
No, I think I was even seeing somebody, and he had this long girlfriend, and I was like, I just want to let you know, like, thank you just for being a gentleman, and even the way that things like ended was very sweet, and I just wish you the best. Like, he wasn't even living in the same state.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes more sense. See, because I've had instincts to do that with exes before, and I always felt like that stirred things up or gave the other person hope or something. When I'm like, hey, thank you so much for doing this for me at this time in my life. I did that with an ex once where I was like, hey, thank you so much for like making sure I got to my hotel safely and like being so attentive when I was on the road and like just taking such good care of me.
Right.
And it led to like a conversation, and during the conversation it was like,
want this dick?
do you want to try? Yeah, it was like, well, do you want to try again? I was like, oh no, I just like really appreciate you. And it and it was fine, but it's not this person.
It's funny how different things start up shit. Like that to me, like, oh yeah, I had no intention and like nothing ever happened. Yeah. But me like saying, wish you well, hope you're doing okay. Like
everyone I've dated since you hasn't measured up. I made a mistake. That's what I heard.
I think I just felt like I think I just felt bad about how it ended because it was me ending it, and it was me ending it with a really good guy. Yeah. And like I've done that before, but he was just like, I broke up with him, and he helped me carry all my stuff to my car, and he gave me a hug, and he wished me luck with stand up and like all this stuff that like when you get broken up with, that's to me is like your last reaction of what you want to do for that person. Yeah. And that's what I was like, God, this person is a really good guy, and I just want them to know that I appreciated that, because I was a selfish 20-something-year-old, and
was he boring?
No, he wasn't boring.
There was nothing wrong with him.
I was still also in that whole awful pattern with my ex-boyfriend too, where I never felt truly broken up from my ex.
Yeah.
And I think it was also part of it was like my ex-boyfriend was like such a crazy like up and down relationship where it's like drama and adrenaline and all that crazy, like what you think is passion but really is just like unhealthy toxicity. You know. And he was just like a nice, normal, steady guy, and I probably was mistaking
they weren't ready for it.
Yeah, I was not ready for it. I was really young, and just like, and now it's like that kind of steadiness, nice person is like who I'm with now, and who knows if I had
met him now,
if I had been in a different position, but like. You know, I obviously like I'm in love with Cam. I'm so happy with Cam, but like, who knows? Like, it's
right.
Oh, the timing thing is so
the timing
terrifying.
thing. But I really like. I feel something with Cam that I never felt with this person. But I just like wanted him to know that I appreciated him being a nice person.
Yeah, that's really nice.
That's it. Because like, God,
I've had actually, you know, when I think about, I've had that conversation with my with one of my exes, my first boyfriend.
Like, thank you for
like,
being.
Like I feel. Well, it was the one I told you had written the song.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Well, there have been many songs.
Listened to this
but one of like the songs was like a few years, like almost 5 years after we'd broken up. And it was
That's gotta feel good.
Still, oh boy, does it
having a song written about you, like that's awesome. Like I've had a joke written about me, but a song that just seems so much more romantic.
Yeah.
He really, I mean, he set the bar very high. That was my first relationship. Was like I would be in the crowd at concerts, and there would be like love songs written about me being sung with a band.
What
like,
is your life
to me? And I just remember being like, I'm in a movie. Like, you know, like it just, it was very,
amazing.
it was very special, and like I do feel super lucky that got to be my first relationship. But yeah, and then it had been like 5 years since we had broken up, and in that time was when I was in like with the crazy ex, the off and on again thing, the guy with borderline.
Right.
And the first ex had released a song it was like on the radio in Oregon, and like I somehow ended up hearing it and was like, just sent him a message because he and I had been friendly, and we would usually get like maybe coffee once a year at the holidays, and I was like, hey, just curious like what this song is about.
Oh my God.
Because there were lyrics about like, I mean, I can't even remember like the specific things. I totally but I mean, I know every word, but I don't want to say them out loud because they're embarrassing. But it just was like, I could tell that it was about our relationship and that like he still like regretted that he hadn't like chased after me or like he still wasn't in a relationship and it had been 5 years and that was still like the only one he'd been in. And so then he was like,
couldn't find anyone to measure up. Sequel's never as good as the original, is it, boys?
Oh my God, I love it. And I was really torn. I was with Kane at the time that came out, and I mean, I guess torn isn't the right word, but I was like, it made me so sad to hear that he still like felt regret that he hadn't like done more or something, because I was like in love with Kane, and I didn't want him to still be like sad or not experiencing like another new love, even though.
Which is how you know you're really past something.
Right.
When you're like, I want you to be in love with someone else.
Right. Yeah. Although there's still like definitely like an egotistical part of me that's like, I just want to keep you in my collection forever. And like, I'm your only love forever, you know? Yeah. But I do remember saying, like, after he had said, yeah, it is about you, but like, I don't want you to like worry or like, I'm fine. It's just, whatever, like an expression of how I'm feeling in the song. And I was like, well, I just want you to know that like I couldn't have asked for a better first relationship, and like you were really wonderful, and like I'll never just all this stuff. So he's very aware of that, and
it's nice. Sometimes it takes dating, like having a string of very unsuccessful relationships or instances to make you appreciate somebody from your past who was really great.
Yeah.
You know?
Or even just putting distance between it and going like, okay, well, maybe these things weren't great, but instead of focusing on, the shortcomings or whatever aspects of your relationship didn't work out or ways they hurt you, you focus on like, well, they were there when I was going through this, or they were really, they handled this very well, and I'm glad I had them at this point in my life, and they encouraged me to do this or inspired me to do that. And so you just kind of, just harvest those organs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, what kind of things have helped you get through a breakup? That like, if somebody's listening right now, what kind of things did you do?
I'm not very good at I'm not very good at getting through breakups, to be honest. It takes me a long time, and I feel like I am very self-destructive. Like I'll self-sabotage and make it last a lot longer. I think the pain a lot longer than I need to. Yeah, because with the first ex, we still ended up like hooking up for like a year after that. Ooh, like off and on.
A year?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Off and on. And I just like, I don't like quitting. I'm not a quitter.
Yeah. I can save him.
I'm not a quitter. I'm like, it takes a lot for me to actually really be done with a relationship. And even, I mean, that's why I kind of like, I don't want to say keeping people, but it's hard to have them be completely gone from your life. And that's how it is with like the ex before Kane, not the first relationship guy, but I don't know.
Well, because we're perfectionists, and if we spend a lot of time on something,
I'm like, no, this will work.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's why I say the organ harvesting thing, because you're like, if I don't look at what I got from that, I'm just going to look at it as wasted time. And I've gone through periods like after breakups where, even after this last one, where I was like, oh, that was a huge waste of time, and I could have been in a better place for something else, and like all these different things and all these things you missed out on because of that. And then you have to go back and refocus and reframe it, and you go, okay, but also, look at these few good things that came out of it, and at the time were good, and all that. And sometimes the best thing that comes out of something is that you're just like, oh, now I know for sure that's the thing. Not right.
You're really done. You're like really done. That's the thing, is like sometimes, especially like those first love, just gut wrenching heartbreaks. It's like I've told you this. Like I had to just beat it over the head over and over and over again. Break up, get back together. I did that for 4.5 years until I really felt like, wow, I am really done. And I, to the point where I probably was a little bit numb, you know, but like the numbness kind of got me through it. And then I ended up seeing him about a year and a half after we broke up, and we just met for coffee, and I just felt nothing.
How did that happen? The coffee?
When somebody reached out, I think it was probably him, but it could have been
trying
me.
To start something up?
I honestly don't remember. It was probably one of those "hope you're well" conversations. You know what I mean? Like that by led. It was like, I was just kind of curious to see him. And we like got food or coffee or something, and I just looked at him, and I just felt no attraction.
Wow.
No
amazing.
chemistry, and really just wanted him to be okay.
Yeah.
Because like, he wasn't looking great. And I'm like, I feel like I'm in a pretty good place. Mm-hmm. But feeling nothing was just the most liberating feeling ever. Yeah. Because he had no control over my emotions in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
And then I did some stuff I'm not super proud of. But
oh my god.
But which I've probably told you guys before.
Is that when you like seduced them back into the relationship only to break up with them?
It wasn't a relationship. You just slept with them, right?
Yeah.
Just to make sure it was really dead.
And I feel bad to this day about it. But this person cheated on me when I was.
You're fine.
Yeah. So I feel like okay,
you Beyonce.
But like
you burned it to the ground. You were like, I will bash this window in with a baseball bat, motherfucker.
Oh man. Well, okay. So we were really young. First love, first heartbreak, everything. I had found out that he had been cheating on me like several times behind my back with this same girl, and when you find that out at like 20, you don't know how to deal with that shit. That's like the worst thing that's ever happened to you in your whole life. And very traumatic. I never fully got over it. And every time we would break up, he would get back together with this girl and so forth. And like, God knows what he was telling each of us. Because he would tell me like, you're the number one. Like, I want to be with you. And she's always been second best, whatever.
Well, men are trash.
Just gross. And I'm sure he was saying the same stuff to her. And like, who knows, right? So
sorry, I always feel bad.
Oh, sorry, not you. You're not trash.
We like you. You're very nice.
All
Thank
the others.
So I'm terrible, and it's very possible that I reached out to him just because I was curious, and I wanted to see how much power I still yielded.
Yes, I love this story.
And he was with this girl. I think he was in a relationship with her, and I should have just left it alone. They may have been happy, they may have not been. But my 20-year-old self was like, you fucked me up when he cheated on me.
Yes. Okay.
When I did this stuff, I was closer to like 23 probably. And I decided that I was going to sleep with him, which I did.
After knowing you felt nothing.
Yeah, after didn't feel anything. Yeah, I know, it was real messed up of me.
I love this so much. Me
too. And he ended up either breaking up with this girl. I think they were in a relationship. He broke up with her. And she asked, is it because of Delaney? And I think he probably told her the truth. And then I just went around and said, I don't want anything with you. So
I have never seen a more delighted.
I'm a bad person, I know, but that's
I love that so
how
much. I want to eat that with a spoon. That story.
I was so curious to see if I could still do it.
Yeah.
And it as awful as it sounds, I wanted to prove like, I'm still number one, bitch. You know what I mean?
Oh my God.
Stay down.
So you broke up with her for me. Okay, I just want to leave on that note. Have a nice life.
Yeah. Mic drop.
It's bad, and it's such an immature way to handle things, and I do feel really terrible about it. And I
want there to be an asterisk next to immature badass.
And like, I'm pretty sure they got back together even after all that stuff happened, so I didn't ruin it completely. Hopefully, who knows? But I think she's with somebody else, I believe, and I don't know what he's up to, but she seems happy. But so not the best way. Destroying other people's lives is not the best way to handle your shit.
No, that's not the best coping mechanism.
No,
right? Not the best coping mechanism.
I feel like when you're like, so what do you recommend to people to help? I feel like we're all just saying what you shouldn't do.
No,
we don't actually know the good things to do.
But if he cheated on you, I mean,
he cheated, and I could never get over it, and I could never trust him again. And even if he was the perfect boyfriend, he'd go. I would still punish him Like I was never over it. And obviously I really wasn't over it. And even though I felt nothing, I still kind of wanted to fuck with him a little bit.
Yeah.
Which
lying's like so trigger. Like I've never been cheated on to my knowledge. That's an important distinction to make because sometimes I'm like, I've never been cheated on to my knowledge, but I've always been very scared of it. And I have been lied to about things. And when people lie to me, I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'm never going to get over that because you're the type of person who lies. Because I'm not the type of person who lies.
Right.
And if it occurs to you to lie, that means it always occurs to you to lie. And you're probably going to keep lying. And even if it's just like the type of lying that isn't malicious, even if it's not even like, because obviously
like a benign lie.
Yeah, even if it's a benign lie, even if it's just like, oh, that's just something you say, about an ex when you're in a new relationship. It's like, I don't care. You are the type of person who cannot be honest, who doesn't value honesty.
Right. That's like your number one value.
It is my number one value.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. And when if someone cheated on me, I would probably burn down their house. Like, honestly, that's why I love that story so much. Like, if I found out someone had cheated on me, or I like...
That's what Lisa Left Eye Lopez did.
Remember
that's
that?
Who? Lisa Left Eye Lopez from TLC. She passed away,
Was that a
but
real thing?
she...
In the fire?
Yeah, no. She burned her boyfriend's or husband's house down.
Holy balls.
Yes.
Whoa. Yeah, well, I don't think you have anything to worry about because anybody listening to this will never cheat on you.
I wouldn't really burn their house down, just their life.
Just burn it.
But the rage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I date comedians, so I can ruin their livelihood. No, I'm joking. I'm completely joking.
This is an interesting question. I saw this was like one of those memes just going around the internet. It said, you and your ex are trapped in a room together. What happens?
Oh, man.
And I bite my own arm off, even if it doesn't do anything.
I just feel, and I can't remember if it said like for a certain amount of time or whatever, but it definitely gets your wheels turning of like, what would happen?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I could tell you that if that same thing happened to me now, I would handle things so differently.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do any of that shit. To me, that was just like being so hurt and so immature and so not knowing how to handle myself.
Yeah.
That I just felt like, out of control. I mean, when I found out he cheated on me, I called her up. I don't know how I got her number, but I called her. I wrote her a nasty Facebook message, or it was MySpace back then, a MySpace message.
Yeah. Whoa.
I mean, I went crazy.
You are so different now.
Oh, yeah.
You would never do anything like that.
You're so like hippie chill.
I think I got it all out early.
Or Kelsey and I are like, yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, that checks out.
Well, for me, it's like, okay, if somebody did that to me now, it's like, all right, well, you don't want to be with me. I'm gonna move along now. Like, you're not even worth my time.
Mature.
Yeah, I know, but it's like, hey, you're not even worth my time anymore.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, I was just texting with somebody about this, that I have a very unhealthy attraction. It's like a very masochistic thing where I kind of have an attraction to guys that make me feel like I'm not good enough. Because it like fuels the perfectionism.
It's like
in
a
me.
challenge.
We talked about it a little bit, I think, when Jared Freed was on, that it's like it almost makes me a project of myself where I'm like, oh, I'm not pretty enough. I'm not funny enough. I'm not in shape enough. Like a Taylor Swift.
Yeah, that's horrifying.
It's really awful.
Yeah, that's like how I've felt before though in like certain relationships, and that's part of like why I stayed, because it's just like this having to like prove them wrong and prove that like I'm good enough. But it's just such that power play of like that kind of negging thing where they know that like I'm probably out of their league with like one of my like exes, where it was like I remember him like telling all his friends and everybody, he was like, I can't believe she's with me, oh my god. And then it would like the power would flip and he would make me feel like I wasn't good enough for him.
Okay, so he tricked you.
Well, yeah, that's what borderline is, just like all manipulation.
Because I was like, if it started there, that you would never fall for that if they just came out the gate kind of like, oh, that's what you're gonna wear.
No, it's like borderline is such. I mean, we could do an entire episode on borderline specifically because like I've learned so much about it now, and like it's such a mind fuck, and it took me so long, and like that whole question of like what would happen if you were in your room, and like I still have things that I would like to say to my ex of just like. Yeah, I don't know. Because I didn't know about the borderline until after we broke up. So then all of a sudden it was like
interesting
brain explosion of like, holy shit, this all makes so much sense. And I still have, I think, like a lot of very mixed emotions about it, because I'm like, I feel very compassionately toward him in a lot of ways, because like I know where I think his borderline comes from, and it's having like tough childhood, tough health stuff. But there's still also that anger of like, fuck, man, like I really loved you and you like really fucked me up. You know, like you fucked me up so badly.
God damn, that's how I feel too. I think if I was in a room, I would apologize for my part of it. Yeah. Even though I was really hurt, and I do feel like, you know, he instigated some stuff.
See, I would, I've got nothing to apologize.
Punishment fits the crime.
I would apologize for continuing the cycle of shit. But I also feel bad because he had some awful stuff happen to him growing up that I'm sure is what stems so much of his own shit, or did when we were together. Right. But then again, a lot of people
have shit.
A lot of people go through stuff, like and you can torment somebody else because of it, or you can work on yourself and, you know, whatever. And I've never been in a position the way that he had, and I don't wish it on anybody, the stuff that he told me. But like, eventually you have to stop, you know, being awful to other people.
Well,
you know?
Yeah. And I don't know that he's the type of person that would ever seek help. I don't think he is. He seemed to always be kind of like anti-therapy or whatever. But I still don't know if he knows he has borderline. Right. And so that's always been kind of a weird thing for like me to know, and him, like, I don't know if he's continuing to go through relationships in his life the same way he did with me, where it's just like people are disposable. Right. But it's, I don't know.
That's another thing about breaking up with people and not knowing how they're doing. It makes me feel like a bad person.
Why?
If I don't, well, because you can check people's social media or whatever, but that's not gonna, you don't know anything. Right. Like if I look at my own social media and I'm like, oh, I look like I'm doing great. Yeah. And so there's no reason to even check. But if I, don't check in with somebody that I was like in love with and with for a long time and very close to, and I just have no idea how they're doing, I feel like I'm the type of person who thinks people are disposable. I feel that way with exes that I've been friends with, and that, like one of my exes I was pretty good friends with for like a year. And like he's in another relationship now, and I think he's like happy and doing well. And I probably could reach out to him, but it didn't, like, the last time I talked to him, it wasn't like bad or anything. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there's nothing in my head that's like, oh, I hope he's doing well. Like, I know he's doing well. Mm-hmm. So I'm just like, oh, okay, that's fine. So I don't feel like a piece of shit for not, I don't want to say not caring, but not like, not thinking about it. But with other people, if you break up and they're like, they were in a tough spot when you guys broke up, or like other things in their life were, and it wasn't just you. Right. Or like, cause I was in the same position, like when we broke up, like I had some stuff going on. Like, I feel kind of like bad not checking in or not knowing exactly. Right. Because then I'm worried about it, because I do care about those people.
Right. I guarantee you they don't give a shit. You know what I mean? Like when they probably are not like, well, Taylor didn't text me this month to see how I was. Yeah, like.
But I care. Don't you care? Like, doesn't it?
No.
Really?
I don't want to hear from any of my exes. I don't care. Like, I hope they're fine.
Yeah. You don't want them to be pining after you?
No. Fuck it. That seems different. That seems crazy.
Really?
I do not want somebody I broke up with years ago to still be into me. I'd be like, dude, you need to move on and get some shit going.
In. There wouldn't like.
What's the point? What's the point?
But there's just, I don't know.
I don't want to hang out with you.
Technically there's no point, but
there's
technically there's no point.
We just unsend this email. Jesus Christ.
I don't want to be friends with any of them, so maybe that's why I don't care. Maybe you guys want to be friends with some of your people.
I would if I could. I don't know if I can.
I just think it's a very hard part of the human condition that we are capable of loving people very, very deeply, and then if something goes wrong, what do? You're supposed to just like cut that person out of your life, but that's what's so jarring to me. That's what like my mind has a hard time wrapping around, is like, oh, these are people I thought I might be with forever. Now I'll never speak to them ever again.
Yeah. Right. What? Oh, yeah.
Super crazy. Weird.
I've tried to write a joke about this so many times about how terrifying it is that you are so invested in someone. You talk to them every day, you sleep next to them, they're inside you, and then like the next year you're like, oh, I never think about you anymore. Yeah. And now it's just somebody else.
Crazy.
It's crazy. And it makes it so hard for me to get to know new people, because the whole time I'm just sitting there going like, I'll just, in a year, I'll just cut you out of this picture and put in another dude.
Now and you're just somebody that I used to know.
Yes.
Oh boy. I've never thought of it that way. I've always thought like, well, I don't want to be friends with any of my exes. I don't care, I guess.
I do because they know me really well.
Yeah, but like I'd rather have a different friend.
Gotta keep them close.
I would rather
friends close, ex is closer.
But yeah, like I'd rather hang out with you guys than an ex.
Well, yeah.
Well, duh.
You know what I mean? Or like
We're fabulous.
any other friends. Like I feel like I am so grateful all the friends I have in my life that I would never choose to hang out with an ex over my friend. One of my friends.
Yeah,
There's never any part of you that's like, today I just got to talk to someone who knows what I sound like when I finish. There's never. There's never.
No, talk to Cam. I'll say Cam.
No, someone
what's up?
different.
Someone different.
No, I bet maybe it's because I've never.
That's not really, that was a joke.
I'm really done. Like I'm really like when I'm done with somebody that I'm dating, I'm really done.
See, I'm
so done.
What is that?
We're
What's
like
wrong with us?
127 hours just slowly.
Yeah.
Like a
hacking
switch.
our arm off.
There's like a switch that goes off in my brain where I'm like, okay, next.
Could you install that switch
And I'm
in
just
my
like,
brain?
I don't know. The only one I ever felt weird about again was that really first boyfriend, that first heartbreak. You know, everybody since then is like, okay, this is done. Now moving on to the next.
He really messed you up.
You know, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I also like getting on to the next situation.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
typical workaholism, just flip, flip, flip.
I'm like, what else is out there?
I
Let me
wonder,
go find out.
Yeah, I wonder if it's because you're more adventurous than the two of us are.
Maybe
Maybe I'm wrong. I don't want to speak for you. I feel like stability is very important to me.
I'm way more into stability than like not knowing what the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
Do you guys feel like you have very good, vivid memories? Because one of my friends I was talking to, she's like, I don't know if there's something wrong with me, but I just like I don't have very detailed memories of like she can't remember a lot of memories with her ex. She says that she feels like it almost didn't even happen. Whereas
Weird.
I'm almost like
amazing.
I know it's like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, where I'm like the opposite, where I very, very vividly remember like a lot of things, and so I think that's why I have a hard time like flipping switches or cutting people off, because I can still live back in that time and remember why I was like in love with that person, but then I can also vividly remember why we broke up. So it's like keeps me sane, keeps me.
My memories feel very distant, like they don't feel vivid. They feel like I remember stuff, but.
Oh man, mine are
so
to
vivid.
the fucking like high def memories, like HD.
I have like some pretty crazy memories, but like, no, nothing that I think about often or ruminate on or anything, or like that bother me still.
I don't know if I even ruminate, but it'll pop up.
Yeah,
sometimes.
mine will pop up too.
Or I'll have a dream or something. Like I never think about.
Oh god, dreams are
Dreams
the worst.
Yeah.
Oh, dreams.
So vivid.
Man,
I'll have days like that.
After that breakup, that's the
what
worst.
an asshole.
Yes.
The breakup dreams are the worst. Like,
but I still have them. Like I'll just randomly.
Really?
I know you told me that when we were talking, and I was like, "That's horrible."
Sometimes they'll just pop up every now and then, and you're like, "Whoa, what year is it?" Like, is it just transports you? It's crazy.
Wow. Yeah. The only dream I had about my ex in the last, like, since we broke up for real was that when I first started dating Cam, I had, like, this weird dream that, like, Cam and I were running away from my ex-boyfriend because he was trying to kill us. And that is the only dream I've ever had about him since. And then everything was fine, and I think they had, like, a confrontation, and then the other dude pieced out. But, like, that was the only dream that I've had. And that felt very out of nowhere. Like, I hadn't thought about him in so long, and I have no idea, but no, I don't have like vivid.
What that is? I can usually tell where my dreams come from. So when something's out of nowhere, I'm like, what the hell? Like,
right?
I don't really think about the guy I dated in college very much. I really don't. And then every once, like, I'll have times where I feel like your friend, where I'm like, I can't remember what he sounds like. I don't remember how tall he was. And then I'll have a dream where he's so vivid.
Yeah.
And I'll wake up and I'll go, oh, wow. So I do remember. It's in there.
It's in there,
but
yeah.
It's just you practicing not thinking about them for so many years.
Wow.
I feel like you and Kane are very similar. I feel like that way you feel is almost like kind of a dude-ish way. I'd be interested to know like how many dudes feel
that by a therapist.
Yeah, you're like a dude.
Yeah, I've been told that. I think I've talked about this with you guys before, where like my dating history and like my mom was really worried about me, and she like basically told me I should go to therapy, and I did it. And kind of like, I was going through a lot of dudes. That was basically what was going on.
Yeah.
But I was having fun and I was fine with it. And then I'd be like, okay, on to the next. Just kind of like, one door.
Yeah.
Okay. And my therapist at the time was like, as long as like you're as okay as you're seeming to be and like you feel empowered versus like upset about anything, there's really nothing wrong with what you're doing. You're just experiencing different people and different things. And yes, this is a very masculine quality and not, not many of like feminine patients have this or whatever, or clients, but that's okay. But this is a masculine kind of whatever. I was like, all right. So I paid a bunch of money to find out that, I'm a dude. Oh, I already knew that shit. Thank you. But I guess so. I've been told that before.
Because he and I were just talking about it a couple of weekends ago, that he, because Kane was married.
Yeah.
He was with her for like 6 years, one of which was married. And I was like, do you ever like think about her or like want to talk to her? And he's like, no, like never.
Yeah.
Like just, and I really believe him. Like it just feels like there's no part of him that thinks about that or like has any desire to have any communication with her ever again. And
does it freak you out? I mean, as the person who's with him, you probably feel great because you're like, well, yeah, why would you? I'm here. But is there any part of you that hears that and goes like,
oh God, if something ever happened?
Yeah, like you would just be done. You would just have an off switch with me. Because I could see feeling both ways.
Yeah, that's a good point. I guess I hadn't really thought about it that way. I do know that I think part of the reason is because he's never been dumped.
What?
Kane's never been broken up with or like been the one who's been hurt like that in a relationship. And so I think he kind of keeps himself.
Kelsey, you have to do it. You can take it back the next day, but you have to do it. It's for his own good. There is a whole level of Kane he has not even unlocked yet.
Well, because I told him, I mean, this is like very vulnerable, where I was like, I still check my ex's Facebook every like maybe once a year, like, around that. Super normal. And Kane was like, what? Like, I mean, I don't think he liked to hear that, but I was like, you don't need to like be worried. It's just like, again, I feel that way where if it was somebody in my life that meant a lot to me and I'm just kind of curious to see what they're doing or like fucking see their face again because it's just so weird. And he's like, I would never ever do that. I would never think to do that. And I was like, yeah, but you haven't gotten hurt. Like there's no part of you that's still looking for, I guess for like that ex in particular, I never really felt like I got closure. Like I had to be the one, like I was the one who did the breaking up, but it was like my hand was kind of forced. Like he was treating me so badly and was so like in the push away phase of borderline where I was just like, okay, if I have any amount of self-respect, I will leave this. Because I'm like doing a relationship for two people, basically. Like this is just not, but I didn't want that. You know what I mean? Like I did not want to be breaking up. I just felt like I had to because I had no other choice.
Wow.
So, it's just like never really getting that closure. And I think you talking about that like back and forth and maybe you with your recent ex where it's like where it becomes one of those back and forth situations where you're like on again, off again. Closure is really hard because it doesn't ever feel like it ever really ends.
Sure.
Yeah, it is.
I think another thing that might help me kind of just like not care is like I feel like Cam is the first person I've actually truly been in love with.
Really?
I don't think I was in love with any
Kane
of those
says that
people.
about me.
That's so sweet.
Yeah.
See, that's probably why we're
sweet and
like
also a little like creepy. I'm like, you were married. Like, you
that is.
But that's the
you
thing.
should have been.
I've been in love 3 times.
Yeah. And I'm sure. Do you really think you weren't in love?
I look back and I think I thought something.
Or is it just not as good?
Because I think Kane had to have been in love.
That's weird to me. I hate it when people say shit like that.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I never really liked that last person. It's like, okay, well then how do I know you like me? Like,
right.
That's how I feel about it.
Honestly, because I look back like at that relationship and I think I thought it was love, but it was attachment. And it was just like
almost like codependency,
scary attachment, and just like my first everything with this person. And I thought that the up and down drama, I think I was mistaking that for like passion and love and like, but no, when I think about our relationship, we had no foundation. We weren't even friends first. Like we dated a couple weeks and then I lost my virginity to him, like we had nothing in common. Nothing.
Yeah.
We did not enjoy each other's company.
He looks like.
He looks like Cam.
Oh, really?
So
really?
Maybe that's my closure. Yeah, I was a little bit like freaked out in the beginning.
Like how much like him?
Like a white ginger.
You just
I'll have to show you a picture. Yeah, it's a little bit. Some of my friends gave me some shit for it, like 2.0 kind of thing.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. But like they look different enough. But it's interesting how I somehow kind of have a type, you know.
Yeah. Oh, we all the guys I've dated have been like thin white guys.
But I no, like that. When I look back on the relationship, we had no friendship. We had nothing in common. It was just like a sexual thing for a lot of it.
Yeah.
He was so intense and like artistic that I felt like it was like, oh, this is like what romance is. But really, this is like somebody being like really manipulative and scary. Like I just kind of, I think it was my first everything. So I just didn't know what to compare it to. He didn't want the best for me. He said awful things to me. He would send me hate mail. Like he told me that he wanted me to die and he wanted my family to die. Like he said awful things. Like that's not love.
No.
You know what I mean?
That's frightening.
That's frightening.
That's so scary.
Yeah.
So I really, and then the other people that I dated, I never even really felt strongly about. I tried to because they felt a certain way, and I'm like, maybe you just kind of fake it till you make it in a relationship, and that's But no, like Cam is the first person that I've actually been in love with, and I'm like, no, this is actual love. This is love.
Yeah.
And I can look at the other experience of like, no, I was not in that. Like I was going through the motions. So maybe that's why. Like if Kane is really saying that, that's true.
That's possible.
And that's probably why he's like, I have no interest in talking to that person. I don't care.
Well, he knows that he, I mean, I hope this is okay that I'm saying this. I'm sure it is. He's talked about it before, but like he looks back on why,
I said, let's call him.
Let's call him.
Phone a friend.
He looks back now and realizes that the reason he married his ex is because he was marrying her family. Because he didn't have like a stable family, and she did. And her family like kind of brought him in.
Yeah.
And so he just felt like, oh, this is like what I need and this is what I do now.
This is what freaks me out about relationships, because every relationship I've been in, for the most part, I have gone through at least a period of time where I was like, this is it, you know, forever.
Yeah.
And the fact that you can feel that way so certainly for, you know, 6 months and then be like, oh, that was completely wrong. And you, you know, you break up and your parents are like, well, yeah, you know, like it's so, that's what freaks me out and why I can't trust my own like intuition or instincts or gut, and why I'm always like running stuff past you guys. Cause I'm like, am I being crazy right now? Like, I don't know if cause I just don't, I'm very critical of my own feelings. So when I like somebody, I'm like, yeah, but what's the catch? Or like, what am I going to find out? Or it's just eventually going to run out. Like, I make a lot of very inappropriate jokes about like, well, when this doesn't work out, like I do that because I'm always afraid of it. And
in front of that person? Like to that person?
To that person.
Oh,
yeah,
Taylor.
A lot. Every time I date somebody.
That can't make somebody feel secure.
No, it doesn't.
That's
but I do it to everybody I date. Because I'm like, well, at least I would have. I did the joke, so if this doesn't work out, I can be like, well, yeah, I know, I did the joke.
So you like you don't
stupid.
You don't like trust your own instincts, or you do have instincts and you're trying to go against them.
I don't trust my instincts because I've had instincts that were so wrong that in either way, if I have an instinct that I'm like, this isn't the thing, I'm like, well, you don't know, you're stupid. You thought that other thing was the thing, and it was not the thing.
Because you're very you think very black and white,
right?
And I'm the same, where it's like, there's not a lot of influx. Like,
yeah,
there's not a lot of, okay, well, this is how much I know of this person now. And so this is what I'm determining as how I feel. But if I find out more later that actually is not good or like not in accordance with what I thought this person is, then my feelings can change, and that's okay. You're kind of like, no, but I thought that this was how I felt and this is how it's supposed to be. Yeah. And so if it changes, then it's like, gets all fucked up.
And relationships are so slippery. They're like clouds or something. Like they can be all fluffy and big, and then they're gone, and they just like, or they blow and bang into another cloud. Like you just, there's all this stuff going on that and it's nobody's fault, and it's not black and white. You're right. But I want to know how I feel about things quickly.
Yes.
And that's why it's so hard for me to date, because I'm just like, I have to know how I feel about this right now.
Yeah, either we're getting married,
right?
Yeah,
or
which
we're
is so
ending right now.
stupid.
Yeah.
Because I don't actually want that, but I don't have.
It's scary.
I don't have the mental energy to figure it out. Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to know right away.
Right.
Yeah.
That you're the thing, at
Yeah.
least for now. Like that's what I want. I don't have time to like let things grow and develop. Like I know that's healthy, but I'm just like I'm gone all the time. Like it is what it is. So I tend to put a lot of pressure on things.
And that's tough because for me, I can look back at everybody I've dated and I learned something from each person. And there were certain qualities that I liked and didn't like. And I feel like I have somebody that encompasses all those great qualities that I liked out of the people. And you know what I mean? Like I have like my one superhuman person now where I didn't,
you O-Town liquid dreams.
exactly. Where it's
I need
like,
to talk about that on stage because they were really ahead of their time with that concept. I mean, that's really what we all want, just to microwave a few men together.
exactly.
Seriously though.
Yeah.
I got to talk about that on stage.
I can look back at everybody I've dated and knew when I was not into it and I just didn't know it at that time.
Right.
You a few years from now or whatever, or you might be able to look back at your dating history and be like, oh, I was feeling that way because I wasn't into that person.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that at that time. Like for me, there was red flags 3 months into my crazy ex-boyfriend that I just didn't know
3
because
months
obviously,
is so long, though.
Dude, I had red
Probably
flags so fast
shorter,
with
yeah.
my borderline ex.
Right.
Like, people telling me, like, even before I found him on my own, I had people handing them to me. I had his friends handing them to me going, just so you know, this is what's happened with, like, the last couple chicks that he's been interested in, or,
man.
we've watched him do this to this girl, and I would be like, no, but I can't picture him doing that, or, like, I'm different. I'm better.
right.
The two most dangerous words in the English
Right.
language.
Oh,
I'm different.
Oh,
man.
Lord.
I'm
Exception
the
to the
one.
rule.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
No, you're not.
I dated
No.
a guy just because he was really attractive and I did not like his personality, but I was dumb and young and thought it was cool to have a hot boyfriend.
I know.
Like a conventionally hot boyfriend that I would take to bars and show him around like he was a piece of meat.
Isn't it crazy? The older I get, the more I see. I told you this on Instagram. I was like, I'm constantly getting on Instagram and looking at girls that I follow who are like gorgeous, and then I see their boyfriends, and I'm like, really? But then I think about it and I'm like, if that guy makes her feel safe, if I met someone who I didn't find physically attractive but like made me feel safer than anyone had, like I could probably get over that, you know? Like, but I don't think I've met anybody like that yet.
Yeah.
But there are so many times I feel like I see couples where I'm like confused at, you know, the difference of whatever. And it's like, I think as you get older, you get less and less shallow. Because in like college, you're
Your
shallow.
wants
as shit.
change. Like
Yeah.
this is so embarrassing. I used to only my dating, must-haves was like conventionally very attractive and a big dick. Like I was an asshole. I'm like the broiest chick ever. We're like, I want blonde with big tits only. Like, who am I? Gross. Like I am gross.
Watching the
Okay?
Victoria's Secret fashion show, that's my type right there.
But like, I'm
God,
sorry.
Delaney.
If the person didn't have like a massive penis, I was not interested. Like that's crazy.
That's so
you know what
crazy.
I mean? And
Yeah,
like,
we're over here being vindictive, but that's nuts.
that's
Yeah.
nuts. Obviously, not saying that Cam doesn't have a massive penis. It's fantastic. I'm just saying
She tells us all the time.
yeah. My wants and my needs and like what I'm looking for in a person have completely changed from 5 years ago.
Right.
4 years ago even. So like I think you kind of refine what you're looking for. And I mean to me it's like I didn't know what I was looking for until I found it, which sounds so weird, but like I really, at one point in my life, I thought, because I had so many failed relationships and failed like hookups and all that stuff, I thought like, okay, maybe you just pick somebody that checks off most of your boxes and you just date that person and you never really feel anything, but like, that's what a relationship is. I really did not
can't
know.
do that
I
shit.
did not know. I thought it was all bullshit. I thought the whole when you know thing was all bullshit that people just say to make themselves feel better. Yeah. And I met somebody who checked off a lot of my boxes, and this is the person I dated right before Cam. Felt nothing from day one, but I figured I'm going to try to force it because obviously what I've been doing has not been working. So I tried to force it.
Did you feel nothing, or did you were you like attracted, but just there was something?
No, I wasn't even attracted.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Whoa.
I wasn't. He's a very attractive person.
So many
but
people like that where I'm like, I recognize that you're attractive, but
Yeah.
like I don't feel that thing.
No.
Yeah.
Like if we had met, we would have probably been really good friends. but never anything romantic would have happened. But I met him online, so that's a whole different thing where like you're trying to have this relationship. But I just figured, okay, he checks off some boxes. He's nice. Let's just go with it, and maybe I'll develop something over time. And no, I was not feeling it from day one. I should have listened to myself, and nothing happened. And it's funny because like I've never been broken up with. He's the only person that's ever broken up with me. But it was like we both weren't feeling it, and we both knew. And it's like a couple weeks before he ended it, I was like, "Is this weird? Like, does this feel weird to you?"
Yeah,
like, it feels weird to me. You know, like we had talked about it was like a breakup, and then he finally was like, yeah, let's like not do this. And I was like, you know, I was upset because my ego was bruised, not because I was sad about like losing him.
Yeah. You're just
you
like,
know
oh,
I mean?
So
I was like, I'm single again. Yeah.
Gross.
Yeah.
You know?
Let's get back out there.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
So I don't know. I just like the whole when you know thing I thought was complete bullshit. And then I met Cam and I was like, oh my God, this is really the truth? This is what people explain?
But here's the
was
thing. I've felt like that several times where I felt like, when you know, and I know. And now I'm like, you know nothing, Jon Snow.
No, but I think those people were right for you at that time.
Yes.
And I don't think that... Yeah.
No, you're right.
Know.
You're right. They were.
But like my past relationships, like I knew like at that time that was the right person for me and that I had those feelings. Like that wasn't a fake feeling I had. That's fucking real shit. But it just, it wasn't. Relationships are more than just when you know. Yeah. It's more than just a strong feeling. It's like you also have to have a cohesive partnership.
Exactly.
Especially when you get toward like marriage shit and you're living together. It's like it goes so beyond, oh, I have like a spark with this person. It's like, does this person ever do the dishes? If not, bye. You know what I mean? Like, it's so much more than that.
There's so many things that can ruin a relationship.
I know. I really look at Kane and I'm like, man, you've done well. Like,
you've done well.
I mean, he's like also changed in a lot of positive ways over the years, but I mean, like playing a game of Minesweeper, clicking around, I'm like, you're keeping it pretty good. Like you're not blowing too many things up. A lot of things that can be blown up at that like level of relationship again, like living together. You see a lot of things. So
well, we never addressed your original question, which should have probably been more of this episode as we wrap it up. But what are some things that you've done to deal with? Like healthy things.
Oh yeah.
That you've done to deal with a breakup.
Fuck them and leave them. Well,
was that steal their stole back?
I can say so many, like as awful as going through a breakup is, so many positive things have come out of my breakups that I'm so grateful for. When my ex and I broke up, I studied abroad in Greece because I wanted to get the fuck away from him. And so I studied abroad. I met one of my best friends. She is the reason I tried stand-up comedy for the first time, and here I am. You know what I mean? Like all that because of some asshole that I was like, I'm gonna go do something that I would never do if I was with him. Like I wouldn't have gone because I would have been like, well, I don't get to see you for however many months. Like I was like, fuck this, I'm out of here, leaving the country. So that was awesome. Just like trying things that are out of your comfort zone that you wouldn't do if you had that safety net of that person. And just like trying to like keep yourself healthy and looking good, even if it's just to spite them, even if you're not getting healthy for yourself eventually, it'll turn into being healthy for yourself.
Right.
And just like
spite health.
Oh, the spite health is the best, man. And then just hanging out with friends and family and just like surrounding yourself with like good stuff and forcing yourself to like go out even if you don't want to. I mean, within reason, but like meeting more people.
Meeting more people is always.
Yeah.
After the breakup with the ex before Kane, I had basically moved to Seattle kind of for this person. And it ended like within a few months of moving there. And then all of a sudden I was there and knew basically nobody at the time. So it forced me to, that's when I joined like the volleyball league in Seattle, met so many great friends, and like it became this huge joy in my life the whole time I lived in Seattle. I was on that team for like 4 years. Yeah. So I agree. If it forces you to like get out of your comfort zone, it's so worth it, I think. And meet some new people.
Yeah.
Even if it's not sexually. Like I just wanted to meet some like friends.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the tough part too, because like sometimes rebounding helps, and then other times it makes you feel worse.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right thing to do.
Absolutely. For me, I just got to push through it and keep the dudes coming.
Well, that's another thing too. I did like start dating Kane like within a few months of the breakup with the ex, and so
and sometimes rebounds are like, oh, this person's actually pretty cool.
needed it. Yeah, like he fucking saved me because I would have kept going back.
Dude, Cam was a rebound. He knows this openly, so I'm not talking
Kane and
shit.
I talk about that. We're like, we did start dating like really fast after both of our things, but it ended up working out.
Dude, 2 weeks after 2 weeks of being broken up, I met Cam, and I was like, let's do this. And I was just like, I'm just gonna mess around with this guy until I find somebody that I'm gonna date, and this will be a great in between, and then boom. Yeah. So like, you really do not know. But I do kind of getting yourself out there, even if it's just to go on a date or two, just to remind yourself there's a lot of people out there, and even if it doesn't go well, then you just book another date.
Yeah, you told me that. You were like, just tell yourself, because I went out on a couple dates within like a week. Yeah. And I, one of them was the guy I'm seeing now, and I was like, just went into it like, whatever, even if it's not a thing, like he seems cool. Yeah. And it was very much a thing of like, oh cool, there's just knowing that there's like other people out there that you can talk to and that will be attracted to you, so you don't feel like that was it and I ruined it, like that kind of fatalistic thinking. Sometimes
I would hook up with people just to be like, oh, I still got it. I'm okay. I'll be okay.
Some mojo hookups.
You're such a dude.
Just for like a night.
Oh, I think that makes total sense.
And I'm like, oh, I'm good.
I can't
got
do
my
it 'cause I'm too
confidence
scared,
back.
But
right.
Too scared of
to each his
STDs.
own.
But yeah, I would say also like try not to be alone. If you can like just make a lot of plans with friends, which is basic, but I mean really super helpful. I mean, when in between the last 2 times me and my ex dated, was when the 3 of us started working together, like within I think a couple months after we started working together, and it really made the biggest difference.
Oh,
like
awesome.
the 3 of us being friends, where I was like, oh, I feel like that void is kind of closed up in a big way. Because before that, it was like we've talked about it. It's just sort of like empty LA coffee things every few weeks. And you're just like, oh, what are we doing? I have to go and like list my credits again.
Right.
And so that's a huge deal. Like, make friends, find out that there are other relationships you can be fostering. And also like take a look at yourself and really ask yourself whether or not you're even ready to be in something. Because I think a lot of times things don't work out because the timing's just off for you personally. Right. And it's a lot of effort to be in a relationship. Yeah. It's a lot of effort to be with someone else and put your shit on them and take their shit on you occasionally. Yeah. And just if you don't have it right now, that's completely fine. And spend time just appreciating the fact that you don't have to deal with that right now.
Yeah. Take care of yourself.
Yeah, like if you if don't distract. I distracted myself so much that I like wasn't feeling my feelings. So kind of be careful with the balance. Like see your friends.
Get
but also,
a therapist.
Yeah, get a therapist.
That's my number one. Yeah. Get a therapist if you don't have one already.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And just like if you feel like staying at home and crying and eating ice cream, then do that. But the next day, get out and do something. Yeah. Don't get in that slump of doing it every day.
Yeah, but listen to the sad songs when you want to. Because that'll happen. Like there are some weekends where I'm like, you know what? I gotta wallow in this. Yeah. And I'm going to wallow for a few hours, and then you feel better, and you're like, okay, I felt those things.
Yeah, cry it out, man.
Purge that shit, dude. I broke down in tears in public, and I'm not a public crier. Like during my breakup, you just gotta do what you gotta do.
Oh, I was, you know. I've been a mess. I've been a hazard on the road. Tears streaming down my face.
Hazard on the road.
Oh yeah, don't you have a bit about like you get like
crying
you got pulled over and you're like I was just upset
because I was sad. That was my god. Yeah, that was coming home from breaking up with my ex one of the times. When I was 20.
Hazard on the road.
That happened for real. Yeah.
Oh my god.
I did. I got pulled over and he thought I was drunk, and I was just like, no, but like I'm working with my boyfriend.
I'm just really sad.
Yeah. So stupid. I'm like 20.
Sadness is intoxicating.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
just bring that back. That was an okay joke.
Yeah, we've all been there.
Okay. So when does this come out?
This comes out on Monday, June 4th.
Sounds great.
That sounds great.
Dope.
I'm at the Bellflower Comedy Festival this Saturday. That's the Corey Craig Cool Beans one with like Francisco Ramos and Tony Baker at just go to kelseycook.com. I can't remember what city it's in. It's in like the greater LA area.
Oh.
So
I was gonna say, is that up north? Where is Bellflower?
It's not too far, but
area.
Yeah, and then it's Kelsey Cook Comedy on Instagram and Kelsey Cook on Twitter. That's my stuff.
That's my stuff. Okay. This is coming out June 4th. Tomorrow night, if you're listening to this on the 4th, Tuesday, June 5th, I'm headlining the San Francisco Punchline. So if you're in San Francisco, I'm at Bonnaroo this weekend. Next weekend, I'm at the Great American Comedy Festival. I'm in New York City for the 17th through the 19th. I don't know where I'm going to be yet, but if you are there and you would like to see me probably running the same set 47 times in preparation for something, be my guest. And then you can see me headlining the Brea Improv Friday, June 22nd and Sunday, the 24th. And the rest of the weekend is Dana Carvey if you're into that.
Awesome. Can I say one more thing? Because I forget to do like more than just the weekend coming out.
Yeah.
I'm headlining Skyline Comedy Club in Appleton, Wisconsin, the 14th through the 16th. So please come to those shows. I've never been in that area before, and I'm excited. So that's my other thing.
Fantastic.
All right, Delaney.
I will be on my couch drawing dicks. You can check those dicks out. Dicks by Delaney is on Etsy currently, and I will be launching it as a fully fleshed out, pun intended, business in July. So, but you can
his work fleshed out.
And I'm at Delaney Fisher on all the social medias. And that's pretty much, I'm just doing that right now. And I feel really good about it.
Yay.
So good.
All right. Oh, subscribe to our Patreon.
Yeah.
I haven't given out a proper plug for that this episode. But
right.
$5 a month. You get 2 bonus episodes, and we are loving it. It's been so much fun.
So many rewards.
Yeah,
go
be
really
a part
so
of
many
it.
secrets.
So many secrets. Yeah,
there are times you can probably hear hesitation in our voices on this episode. There will not be that on the Patreon episode.
Yeah.
I would have been far more petty.
Oh yeah,
had I known this was a Patreon. That's come out on the Patreon where I'm just real raw.
Yeah, I held back a little bit on here
Me
today
too.
just because
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, what if they hear?
I held back a little too.
Maybe we'll
And
And
just
that's
that's
smart.
surprising because I talked about ruining somebody's life. So.
I know.
How about, would you guys let us know if you would be interested in us like getting even deeper into breakup shit? Let us know if you want like a more uncensored thing on the Patreon, and we can do that.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
man.
Yeah, that's a great idea, actually.
yeah.
Whew. Yeah, you can
should probably do that.
email us at selfhelplesspodcast@gmail.com. Follow the Self-Helpless account on Instagram and on Facebook. And
YouTube.
If you pledge
YouTube.
$50 to Patreon, we will send you all of our ex's social media so that you can see for yourself.
And you control them.
You control them. You can put a face to the
Yeah.
mistakes and really,
somebody does
really get a
that.
feel for it.
That would be so funny. And subscribe on iTunes and give us a 5-star rating and review. That's also a great place to leave suggestions for us about like future episode requests. You
Yeah.
can just do it in the iTunes review. Then it's like killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Like we see it, we get the info
Right.
of what you're telling us, and it helps the show. So,
Absolutely.
all
All
right.
We love you guys.
That's it. Love you guys. Talk to you
Thank
next
you.
week.
Bye.